Thank you, guys. It's great to be up here in Navarre. Great people, God's country. And I really, for those of you who have already voted for me, thank you. For those of you who are planning to vote for me, thank you, and don't change your mind. The rest of you, we'd obviously love to have your support. It was funny when we did that trip. I told the president, I was like, look, he's like, what do you need me to do? I was like, just tweet something for me. I was like, it'll all take care of itself. And kind of the rest has been history. It's great to be here. I'll just tell you a little bit, a tidbit about me. And so, you kind of, when you do these campaigns, you tell people a little bit who you are. Some of you may have seen, we did an ad with my wife recently with our kids. Who I'm very proud of my family. I'm very lucky to have a very wonderful spouse who is great. But when you put a spouse on TV like that, she's not, just understand, like this was not something where she just went out there and did a great job. I mean, this was kind of not fair that we would be able to use her because she's been on TV for like over 10 years, reporting, anchoring, having her own show. So you literally just wind her up, put her in front of the camera. She's been in front of the camera more than Matt, me, and Jim combined, probably. And that's a lot, this guy especially. So she did that. And then we saw our kids who we are blessed to have two very, very great, healthy kids. And so you do that. We said a little, obviously, we've told people that the president's supporting me. Because that's important for people to know that of everybody in all these different races around the country, the president has said, this guy, in his own words, Ron DeSantis, a great leader, a proud veteran, a brilliant, tough cookie who'd be a great governor of Florida. So we want to tell people that. Tell people about serving in the military, volunteering to serve in Iraq, doing that, being a proud Navy guy. One thing people don't necessarily know, I'll talk, that we haven't put on the air yet, is when I was young, my Little League team went to the Little League World Series in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And you see it on TV now. They have it on ESPN. Teams are up there. It's like a big deal. They didn't have nearly as much press coverage when I went as they do now, but nevertheless, that was what it was. But the interesting tidbit about it was I grew up in Dunedin, Florida, which is a little town in Pinellas County by Clearwater and St. Petersburg. And on the first day of practice, we decided, just starting from the very beginning, that we wanted to play Taiwan in the Little League World Series because Taiwan used to win all the time back then. So we put underneath the bills of our cap, WWT, we want Taiwan. And so from the very first practice, we said that is our goal. We worked every day. We were just a ragtag bunch of kids, but we practiced every day. We started beating teams up and down Florida, throughout the southern region. And by golly, we made it to Williamsport. And so that is just an example of, when you talk about all these things in life, if you're willing to set a goal and you're willing to work your tail off to achieve that goal, you can accomplish great things. And I think in politics, especially as being governor, if you identify the 5 things you want to do, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go on, and you're willing to give it all you have, exercise leadership, spend political capital, take the slings and arrows that come with politics. You might have seen, they've spent over like $15 million attacking me, over the last several months. And there's a reason for that because I'm willing to stand up against entrenched interests and they know they can't control me. But it's like, that is kind of what happens. If you're not willing to lead, if you're not willing to take the road less traveled, well, then it's just more, same old type stuff. And I think that we need to make sure that we continue with good leadership in Florida. And so that is just an example. We will set out the agenda, and I will work night and day to be able to achieve the agenda. A couple things real quick before I send it back to Matt. Our economy is doing well in Florida. I want to keep it going and build off the success that we've had under Governor Scott. I don't want to go back to the Democrats and raise taxes, do more red tape, do all the things they want to do that'll just bring Florida down and make us more like some of these states that aren't doing a good job. I want to end judicial activism in Florida, and that means appointing solid constitutionalists to the state Supreme Court. If you do that effectively when you come into office, judicial activism's done. We will have conservative justices on the Supreme Court, and that's good for our freedoms. Yeah. I want to end illegal immigration, and there's things you can do in Florida to do that. We can enact E-Verify in Florida, and we can stop sanctuary cities in Florida. We can reform education by getting rid of Common Core, by making sure we have career and skills and technical education in our high schools. It's not all about a four-year college. That's one way to be successful, but it's not the only way to be successful. We also need to get the Constitution back in the classroom and really stress American civics, because we're preparing people for citizenship. I want our students, if they graduate in Florida, to be able to pass the citizenship exam that our naturalized immigrants have to pass, naturalized citizens. I think that would be very good if they could do that. So we need to be. We also have to understand, and I think many of us do, that in Florida, kind of the environment we have, our beaches, our water, all that stuff, that's really the foundation of our way of life and our economic prosperity. And there are some problems going on in Florida right now and other parts of the state where you've got a lot of polluted water causing a lot of nasty algae blooms and all these other stuff. And I'm the only guy that's ever been willing to stand up against any of these entrenched interests. I'm not taking any money from Big Sugar. I'm just not going to do it. And so I'm willing to do what it takes in conjunction working with the federal government, because we have to do that. By the way, I'll be the only guy that will be able to work with the Trump administration to get this stuff done for Florida. The Democrats sure can't do it. And, these Republicans that haven't been, have said all these bad things, that's not going to work either. So we'll get that done. And I think as Republicans, we can be stewards of the environment to where I want to enjoy the environment. I want people to have fun being in Florida and a quality of life. The Democrats, they care about global warming. They're going to stop the sea level. They're not going to be able to do any of that. They're just going to be able to impose taxes on you or regulations, but they don't want you to enjoy the environment. So we will be good stewards in the traditional Republican sense, and I think that that's important for us. And so final thing I'll say is, whoever you elect to office, if they get successful, they get the title. So, for every Jim Jordan that's a congressman or a Matt Gaetz, there's all these other no-name congressmen who don't really do anything but keep the seat warm. And so not everyone who gets elected to office is a leader. So I think it's important, particularly for governor, that you not only elect someone that's going to be the governor, but that will be a leader as governor. And if you look at my track record from athletics to military to fighting the entrenched interests in the Washington swamp, I've demonstrated the capacity to lead, but also the willingness to lead when it's not easy and when you're going to have to face a lot of slings and arrows. So I will keep doing that as your governor. I ask you guys to get out and vote now if you haven't. If not, on the 28th, let's bring it home, and then let's go to November and defeat the Democrats. Thank you.